These formulas have been the secret weapon of Chinese doctors for thousands of years. One famous doctor was named Zhang Yongjing, and he lived between the year 150 and let's say 210 AD. It's almost 2,000 years ago. And he wrote a very, very famous internal medicine book full of herbal formulas I still use to this day. And in the preface to his text, he said, due to pandemics and epidemics, he lost 2/3 of his family over the period of several decades. And that's what prompted him to dedicate his life to studying medicine. And he searched far and wide for these famous herbal formulas that were effective. And within this book that he's transmitted to us are the most effective prescriptions that he was able to find. One of the notes he left in there was, use these formulas to safeguard your own health and your own life. So in this video, I want to share a few famous formulas, what the herbs are in these herbal prescriptions, and how they can actually help. Hey guys, I'm Dr. Alex Hein, board licensed doctor of acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine, and author of the health book Master the Day. So let's jump in. Now this time of year is right around that cold and flu season. That first cold snap is where pretty much everybody starts to get sick that is susceptible. Remember, according to traditional Chinese medicine and modern medicine, typically you only get sick if you are immunocompromised in some way. I mean, one of our classic quotes says, the balanced person doesn't get sick. I'm not a very balanced person because I shoot these videos after working a full week in the clinic, but there's something very important here. In the last few weeks or so, my formulas that have been given to patients, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them have told me, but my whole family has gotten sick. And for the first time, I didn't get sick. While the FDA requires me to not say these formulas can actually treat, prevent, or cure anything, in reality, these formulas are very, very effective at not preventing you from getting sick. So clinically speaking, you often will see that patients that are on certain formulas get sick a lot less frequently, will often be the only person in their family who didn't catch the cold or the flu going around, and if they are sick, they recover much, much more quickly. So the first formula here is a formula called Tang, or cinnamon twig decoction. Lest you think this is just some cinnamon powder you got at Trader Joe's you put in your oatmeal, this is medical grade stuff that first of all is at a dosage 20 to 100 times stronger than what cinnamon you'd put in your oatmeal. Second of all, this is from cinnamon twig or cinnamon bark. And these are traditionally trees that are aged for decades. And they are very, very, very highly concentrated. This particular formula is comprised of 5 herbs. Guizhi, which is cinnamon twig. You can also use cinnamon bark. Baishao, which is peony. Shengjiang, which is ginger, fresh. Dazao, which is jujube date. And Zhigansao, which is honey fried licorice root. Now, Tang is sort of a traditional ancient remedy for low immunity, for people with a susceptibility to colds and flus, for people who tend towards having that runny or drippy nose throughout the winter season and a lot of postnasal drip. It also has lots of very good benefits that help with just your overall nervous system regulation. Very good for anxiety, very, very good for overall improving digestive function, because these warming, stimulating herbs will often improve appetite. They're often very good for bloating. They're very good for SIBO. And so this formula often is traditionally used for, let's say, 3 months in winter. If you know that come February, you're always getting sick, in December, start off at a half dose of this formula, a non-interventional dose as if you were sick, and you basically would take it for several months at a time. The second formula here is something called Yu Ping Feng San, and this is often translated in English as jade windscreen powder. Now, the breakdown of the herbs in this formula, first of all, are called huangqi. It's a high dose of an herb called huangqi, which is astragalus. Now, astragalus has many, many different uses, but it is often used for low immunity and chronic fatigue. So this herb huangqi is often used in thyroid issues, it's used in low immunity, and it's used for all kinds of general exhaustion. Huangqi in this case is often used in a very high dose depending on the practitioner or the doctor that you see. The second herb is called baiju or Atractylodes. Now, Atractylodes is an herb that we typically say helps drain dampness. So for people that have issues with poor bile flow, poor enzyme production in the pancreas, lots of bloating, lots of food allergies, formulas containing baiju are often very, very commonly indicated here. But baiju is one of the best herbs for your digestive system overall. And the final one is an herb called Fang Fang or Sapochnikovia. Now, Fang Fang is an herb that we say releases the surface. When you view yourself having a cold or a flu, you know, these ancient doctors said, what is the location of illness and what is the depth of illness? A runny or stuffy nose like I have now is different from someone who's, let's say, urinating blood because they have a UTI. This is totally different in terms of the depth and the severity. So they would view, for example, a cold, they would call a surface issue. Well, you would take surface relieving herbs to help kick this cold out of the surface. So for example, a cold that's at the surface might just be stuffy nose, a little bit of postnasal drip, low-grade headache, but then as it goes more interior, you may have sore throat, cough, bronchitis, etc. This is an herb that we say strengthens and opens up that surface. Now for some people, one of the reasons they have low immunity is they have a constantly dysregulated nervous system. Heightened stress hormones, they're not sleeping well, they're anxious, they're on edge all the time. So I'm actually doing a one-time live workshop coming up in a couple weeks here. Now I usually only do one workshop per season, once per quarter, and last time the spaces were limited to 500 seats and we filled up every single seat. But the link right below this video is for this workshop. 5 daily practices to decrease anxiety levels and regulate your nervous system. This is really a traditional Chinese medicine approach to regulating your adrenals, anxiety, and your overall nervous system response. So check the link out right below this video, you guys. Again, this is a one-time thing I just do once per season. So come on in. We're gonna just do a whole hour-long workshop and then I'll answer Q&A as long as you are there. So check it out, the link right below this video. Now there's a final formula here, often used for low immunity, and this one is called Shuyuan. This formula, Shuyuan, is very unique because it's basically a Han Dynasty multivitamin. That's how the doctors I studied with described it. It's a low dose of 25 herbs, and basically what it is to strengthen the internal organ function. What that looks like biomedically is improved immunity, improved blood flow, improved lymphatic flow, rebalanced microbiome, regulated nervous system, improved detox pathways, liver and kidneys, and it has a whole host of other herbs that are interventional in nature, but they're taken at a very low dose for several months at a time. When you're really run down or when you know you're working really long hours and you're not sleeping well, so you know you're probably gonna get sick because of where you are right now. So this is taken like a multivitamin for several months at a time, really to shore up your resources, strengthen your reserves, and boost your immunity in that way as well. Now don't forget guys, I work with a limited number of new patients every single week in my clinic in Los Angeles or virtually via telemedicine. If you wanna reach out and become a patient one-to-one, just go to dralexheyne.com/clinic and reach out there, or go to the description below this video because we have the clinic phone number, our email, etc. if you wanna reach out and book something with me there. And one final thing, before you go, check out this other related video because I share a few other formulas we didn't talk about here for boosting immunity and really helping you just strengthen your resources.